In the last video, we made 3 masts. We're going to take out those masts for now, and we're going to work on the side rails, the walls, and the windows of the captain's cabin and the bowsprit in this video. So to start off, we're going to start with the side rails. Right now, the hull and the ship are 2 separate things. We need a way for those to stick together. So basically what I'm going to do is attach the ship's hull to the ship's rails. To do that, we need to make the side rails first. The ship gradually widens, then narrows. So it's hard to cut out an exact shape for the rails to look exactly like the ship's shape. So I cut out these little bits of rectangular pieces, then hollowed out the area that will become the openings between 2 rails, and then glue them together to the ship. So there are 8 of these pieces on each side of the ship, so I made the side rails with 16 tiny rectangular pieces. But after they are glued and dried, I figured these things aren't going to stay attached to the ship. If I attach the hull to these rails, the tension created from the hull's tendency to expand outward will probably eventually rip these rails out. So I nailed these rails with tiny nails. It turned out nailing these tiny nails straight into yet another tiny wooden pieces was very hard. The nails wouldn't go in straight, that, or the wood cracked. Anyway, after much struggle trying to nail these tiny nails, I managed to get these side rails to attach to the ship's floor pretty well. It's very strong. I don't think they will ever rip out in the future. After that, I smoothed out the side rails so there are no bumps. I'm eventually going to make cover to these rails that extend throughout the entire ship, which will cover up the joint. But that will happen when we have the entire floor finished. That way we will have more unified look. Until then, we're going to simply tape the hull to the side rails. I still need to open up the ship to work on the lower floors, so I don't want anything to be attached permanently. I hollowed out the area where the openings for the side rails are. Behind the side rails is that captain's cabin. This area has 2 floors. The main floor becomes walled off and it becomes the captain's cabin. And on top of that room is the navigational deck. And the rails continue on that navigational floor. So in the previous video, we made a temporary placeholder for the captain's room. But today, we are actually going to cut out a decent looking walls for the captain's cabin. The walls are basically tall enough to cover both the captain's room, and they also become the side rails for a navigational deck. These craft wood blocks come in these small rectangular sizes, which aren't big enough to cover the length of the walls. So I'm going to cut them out separately and then glue them together. And that is how it should be done, because again, the rear end of the ship also starts wide then gradually narrows. So we need to break them and then glue them to fit around the ship's shape. this is how they look at this point. We took out the flimsy structure that we had before, and now we have a pretty strong walls. I'm not going to glue them to anything just yet. They are simply staying up like that there from the tension between the back panel and the side rails. We are reusing the same floor for the navigational deck. Next, we need to make the front wall of the captain's cabin. So what I'm thinking is putting up 2 staircases on the side and put the doors on the center. I've seen ships' designs where stairs are on the center and doors to the captain's cabin is on the side, but I will put the staircases on the side. It seems to be more prevalent on smaller ships to put the staircases on the side. I also hollowed out the doors. I'm going to make them double doors with arched top. The captain's cabin does seem a little taller than the rest of the ship, but we're going to fill up the room with lots of stuffs later, so having a larger space is probably a good thing. You can imagine 2 staircases going up to the navigational deck on the side. We will come back for the staircases later. Now we're going to be a bit of a scatterbrain and go work on the channel. I think they are called channels. So basically they are these narrow wood planks that stick out of the ship, and basically this is where you tie the ropes to. The ropes that hold the mast and sails together. Since there are 3 masts, we need to make 3 channels on each side. So in total, there are 6 channels. And then I made some holes so ropes can go through. I haven't completely figured out how this works, but anyway, we have something here for the ropes to tie down to. I was going to nail them to the ship's hull, but I decided against it. I may have to redo these channels in the future in case I made them wrong. So for now, we will glue them only. Or maybe just gluing will be okay. In the last video, we made 3 main masts, but there are more. We are going to make the bowsprit, the thing that sticks out in front of the ship. Again, like these previous masts, we're going to join 2 wooden dowels together to make one long bowsprit. I think they look better. I don't know why, but these extra joints make things look better. After gluing these 2 pieces together, I tied some ropes around it. Some ships have extra sails here, some don't, but I think I will make extra sails here. We will come back for those later. Of course, the bowsprit needs to be attached to the ship somehow, so I made a hole in the forecastle. This is why I decided not to turn the forecastle into a room. After putting a bowsprit through this area, I don't think there will be enough space to make a room here. I also put a hole through the front panel. There will be a door here, but we will come back for that door and other wall decorations later. A few months ago, when I started this project, I didn't even have a clue where to even begin. My plan was to just figure it out as I go. When I get there, I'll figure out what to do. And it looks like we now have something that looks decently like a sail ship. I thought the ship was too small, then too big. And now I think it looks just right. The ship's bigger than my green screen, so that's going to be another problem, but other than that, I think the ship turned out pretty well. So after this video, I think we got the basic structure of the ship done. I think now we are left with like teeny weeny little details. And of course there are still so many of these tiny details that we need to figure out. And most likely they will take up a lot of time. Probably more time than the time we spent making the ship up to here. But I think we got the big stuffs done. We got the size, we got the width and height of the ship. So I think we can start alternating between making some stuffs for the ship and making other things, and also starting the next story series. So let's come back to the captain's cabin. We're going to make the window box. So I don't know why, but most of these ships have these windows area sticking out of the ship. So we're going to make this area, which I will call the window box. I cut out 2 side panels and 1 back panel, hollow out the areas that will become windows, then glue the panels together, then cover up the top and bottom areas. I was thinking of putting clear plastic coverings on these windows, make them look like window glasses. But I'm thinking against it. I think the plastics will create glares, and maybe we are going to have harder time shooting inside the ship. I'm going to fill up the captain's cabin with stuffs, furnitures, and I want those to be visible from the outside. So I'm not going to put plastic coverings, but I will come back and put the window frames and curtains and other wall decorations to make these windows look prettier. For now, we just have the placeholders, or just the holes where the windows will be. Next step is to take out the walls where the windows are. We can't see through the windows and into the room if there are walls blocking the view. So I cut out the hall and the cabin's wall. Cutting stuffs is always scary because it's rather kind of permanent. It's not so easy to put them back together without looking like I made mistakes. But anyway, I cut them out. I'm not going to glue the windows to the ship just yet because I still have lots of work left to do on these windows. I can't reach inside and put up the curtains or whatever if the window box is already glued. So at this point, everything can still come apart. The floors, the walls, the hall, the windows. So I taped the windows to the ship for now. It doesn't look like it, but nothing much is glued permanently on this ship. They are either holding together by tape or just the tension. It actually looks better than it should, with still most things unglued. So here we are. We are not even close to finishing this project, but I think this is a pretty good place to say we reached some kind of a milestone on this project, or at least I think this ship is going to get built. Now I think it's mostly just a matter of time. I think I mentioned how I had like so many things on my to-do list. I was wondering if I should just start them all and work on this project in parallel, or just work on the ship first and then work on the rest sequentially. But I think at this point I'm thinking of starting other projects in parallel too. The ship will get built when it gets built. It's going to take a few more months, maybe longer, since I'm going to alternate between other projects too. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we're going to continue with the ship, but we will alternate between other projects. See you in the next video.